Hello scholars, and welcome to today's science lesson. Yesterday we watched a video that was talking about how land changes, and the video was talking about how land changes slowly over time. In the video we learned about weathering and erosion. Today we're going to read a little bit more about erosion. The definition of erosion. Erosion is when tiny pieces of Earth's surface are moved from one place to another. This is usually caused by moving water or winds. Erosion usually happens very slowly. To better understand how changing the shape land works, let's break it down. The shape of land can change over time. The shape of land is constantly changing. You may not have noticed because it usually happens very slowly. People can slow down or stop erosion using the power of science. Water can change the shape of land. Flowing water can move sand and soil. As water flows in a river, it may carry sand and soil from one place to another. This is called water erosion, and it is how the Grand Canyon was formed over a long time. Wind can change the shape of land. Wind is just moving air. It can blow sand and soil from one place to another. Wind can move tiny pieces of the Earth's surface very far and very fast. Erosion can cause major damage. If the land beneath a house is moved away because of erosion, the house can fall down. If sand on the coast is moved away by ocean waves, the beach will be gone. Erosion usually takes a long time. It took a long time for the Grand Canyon to be carved by moving water. Erosion can take millions of years. It can also happen fast, such as in a flood. Alright, and then down here we just have some vocabulary that we talked about today. And the main focus that we want to, or the main vocabulary word we want to focus on is erosion. And again, erosion means moving pieces of the Earth's surface from one place to another. This is usually caused by moving water or winds. So to better help us understand erosion, we're going to take a look at a video. And in the video, we have a scientist here who's going to walk these two students through erosion through different types of experiments. Tomorrow, we'll be trying one of these experiments on our own. So let's get ready to take a look at the video.
Welcome to 3, 2, Wonder. I'm Dr. Jeff, and today we'll learn how water and wind can change the shape of land. To understand why the shape of the land changed, we have to learn about erosion. Let's explore. Today, we'll learn that water can change the shape of land. Wind can change the shape of land. And we can slow down or prevent these changes by using science. 3, 2, Wonder! Yeah! 3, 2, Wonder! Hey! Let's go! 3, 2, Wonder!
Hi, Dr. Jeff.
Hey, EJ!
Whoa!
Hi, Addison!
What happened here?
It looks like my landscape was no match for the power of erosion. Erosion is when water or wind change the shape of land.
Yep, I say this land is in pretty bad shape. Water did that?
It sure did.
What other ways can water and wind change the shape of land? And is there any way we can prevent it?
To learn about that, we need to go into our imaginations. Follow me! Here we go. In 3, 2, Wonder! by talking about how erosion works. Moving water and wind can change the shape of land by moving pieces of the earth from one place to another.
So erosion is the landscape getting moved around over time. And wind and water is the tools that make it work.
That's right. Can either of you think of ways that wind or water can move things?
I know. Wind can push on small, light things to make them move from one place to another, like the grains of this dirt.
Excellent. And land can be made out of dirt or sand.
That gives me an idea. Flowing water can move things, like the land under this building. Cool!
What we saw here happened really fast, but erosion often takes years and years, like it did with the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, the Grand Canyon was made by water slowly moving pieces of the land over millions of years. But, Dr. Jeff, there's wind and water all over the place. How do we stop it from totally changing the land we live on?
We don't always want the land we live on to change, so we can use science to slow down or to stop erosion. To learn about that, let's head back to the lab to investigate. First, we'll look at water erosion.
Real land is too big to test, so we have our own model right here. And since we can't use a whole river, we will use the water in this can.
First, let's see what happens when there's nothing to stop this water from moving this soil. Wow!
The water moved the soil down the slope and into the bucket. It changed the shape of the land. In nature, the soil wouldn't end up in a bucket. It would be moved to somewhere else, like when heavy rain washes away soil.
If you're a farmer, it can get pretty annoying to have water changing the shape of your land every time it rains.
So let's see if we can slow down or prevent those changes. This container has soil with plants in it. Will the plants stop the erosion?
Let's find out.
The water barely moved any soil.
Plants are a great way to slow down erosion. Their roots hold the soil in place, and they can soak up some of the water too.
Let's try another method for preventing water erosion. This time, we have mulch covering the soil.
Mulch is small pieces of wood that people use to cover soil in their gardens and yards.
Let's see how well it stops the water erosion. The water barely moved any soil.
Mulch is a great way to slow down erosion in your yard. So when it rains, it doesn't wash away the soil. Now let's study wind erosion.
This sand represents land, and it doesn't have anything to keep it from moving from one place to another.
And this is an air compressor, and it's going to make some serious wind. Here we go.
move the sand. Wind can change the shape of land. It can take years for wind to make big changes to land, but those changes can be amazing. I wonder if grass can slow down erosion. It works with water.
Let's try it.
The plants help keep the sand in place.
Plants are great at slowing down or stopping erosion, and they shield the sand from the wind.
For our last test, let's see if these rocks can stop wind erosion. The land didn't change very much.
True, rocks are heavy, and they can weigh down the sand, so it is harder for wind to move the tiny pieces. So, what did we learn?
We can slow down or stop erosion through the power of science.
Alright, I'm going to pause the video there. I'm going to go back to some of the experiments that we saw in the video. Now here in this video, we saw that the students and the scientists were using water erosion, and they were showing how water can move parts of the land from one place to another. Then we saw how plants and other materials can help stop the erosion from moving that soil from one place to another. Next, we also investigated wind erosion. In this part of the video, we saw how the wind moved parts of the sand from one place to another to cause wind erosion, and we also learned how the grass and the rocks were able to prevent a lot of the sand from moving from one place to another. Tomorrow, we're actually going to do our own mini investigation with both water and wind. And some of the materials that you will need is either potting soil or sand, and you're going to need a couple of buckets, and you'll need a cup or a couple cups of water, and some extra materials that we're going to be using are rocks, paper forks, paper spoons, if you have popsicle sticks to use, any type of other material that we usually use for like arts and crafts, we're going to be using because we're going to investigate how we can create structures to stop erosion. So tomorrow, if you'd like to participate in that experiment, make sure you have those materials. And if you don't, then you can just follow along with our experiment. But like I said, we're going to explore water and wind erosion throughout the rest of the week. So make sure that you have some of those materials if you'd like to participate. And we will practice exploring erosion in a more meaningful way. I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson, and I will see you for our experiments later in the week.